Hey, welcome to Randy's Road Life. Glad you're here with me today. We're going to talk about something that is not really discussed on YouTube pertaining to this particular company. It's not very much content out there at all, but we're going to change that, okay? So, before we get into it, please like and subscribe, hit the bell for the notification, and share this video on all your social media platforms so we can get this word out there. That way, us truck drivers can make good decisions, right? That bring about positive outcomes in our lives. All right, so that's what the channel is all about. So let's get into it. Beemac Trucking Terminal number 75. Now, Terminal 75 is a fleet leased onto Beemac. Okay, Beemac. Excuse me. Beemac Trucking is out of Ambridge, Pennsylvania. But the Terminal 75 side is out of Lyons, Illinois. Used to be called Roller Express. There's some things I didn't know about this going into this, because them being a fleet of Beemac, and as I talked to another driver who's actually been there for a little while, for actually quite a while, he explained everything to me and how it works. So Roller Express was having a lot of problems, okay? And so they eventually added themselves to Beemac as a fleet, all right? Now they have owner-operator program, company driver program, lease purchase program, okay? I went there as a lease purchase program. Okay. My woman really didn't want me to go there because the reviews were so bad. But I mean, that's really typical of a lot of truck companies. So, and then in hindsight, you like, damn, I wish I would have listened, truthfully. But you get suckered into the smooth talk, to the salesmanship, the kindness, and the people being very personal about stuff, and you let your guard down a little bit, which is what I did. So I went there, and they made quite a few concessions for me. So I thought everything was going good, right? First truck, okay, disaster. First truck was a disaster. They promised to maintenance the truck. For one thing, the truck was well past its mileage for a PM. Right, it put me in a Peterbilt 579. I think it was a 2021. I think it was a 21 or a 22. Had a Packard motor in it. And there was so many problems with this truck. I mean, it used up over a bottle of coolant every day. It derated every day. It had serious starting issues because of the. I would think because of the coolant issue was getting into the motor, inside the block or the head or whatever. So it's like the biggest problem I have with these guys is they always want to fix your stuff at one particular shop in Chicago, right? The problem with that is the freight in Chicago is horrible. So every time you come there, you lose. You lose time and a whole lot of money, and then you got to be put in a hotel or whatever, and then they charge you for all that stuff. Even though all this stuff is pre-existing issues, you're still going to get hit with it. Pictures and text messages, they don't care, right? They don't really care about driver retention, as I experienced that myself. So as I was in this truck for over a month, and it was so bad. There was times I couldn't get the truck started. Had to use starter fluid, stuff like that. Going through gallons and gallons of coolant. Broke down a couple times in that truck. Here at home also, missed loads. When you miss loads, time is money, man. You have to get to it. So finally, they got me in to switch out to another truck, which, once again, you lose a lot of money doing this. This was no exception. Got me to a 2022 Freightliner, Cascadia. Off the rip, man. It had both the engine lights were on. Hill assist light was on. Anti-lock brake light was on for the truck. Traction control light was on for the truck. And there was another one. I can't remember exactly what it is. So the left front steer tire was badly spotted due to out of alignment. Things like that. I mean, it got worse from there. Okay. This truck also, you couldn't start normally. You couldn't do the safety start. You turn the key over, let it cycle. You couldn't do that. It wouldn't start that way. You had to, as soon as you turned the key, you had to try to start it. It was that. First day I sent pictures of everything with the truck. They ignored all of that. They sent me the contract for that truck. I refused to sign it until I had an agreement with Anna. And you'll see her name on the Beemac, the Terminal 75 ads on Facebook. Adriana something Ski. It's those last names. Okay. She's the one that does all that stuff, the recruiting stuff. Anyways, as time went on, truck got progressively worse again. They continued to ignore the problems I was having with the truck. All the lights and everything is still on with the truck. They continued to ignore it. Finally, the truck breaks down. Had to get towed. Had to get towed twice. Radiator blows up, and that's usually indicative of a head gasket blown or EGR, right? So I limped off the highway with no coolant in the truck, but I got off. I was only about a mile. Sat there for 8 hours. Finally got that fixed, and went straight to a truck stop. And in the middle of the night, lost all my coolant again, so I had to shut the truck off. Very hot, almost 90 degrees. Sat there all weekend with no air. They don't care about that stuff. They let you sit in squalor, and it's 90-degree weather with no AC and stuff like that. They could care less. So I sat there for that weekend. Monday comes around. Now here they go. Now they're saying it's the mechanic's fault. Mechanic did a good job on the radiator. Dan's Field Service out there in Fruitland, Idaho, I believe. So they was like, well, try to drive it. Well, actually, hold up. Let's back up a little bit. Mechanic does come back out, right? And I knew it wasn't going to do any good. He knew it was going to do any good. And he still did a pressure test, all that stuff, and went over it. There was a little bit, tiny bit of white smoke coming out of the tailpipe, which is usually indicative of the truck is burning coolant. So he leaves. About 20 minutes after he leaves, the whole freaking parking lot is billowed with white smoke. And the coolant smell, it's a little bit of a sweet smell to it. So I have to shut down the truck again. All right. They want me to try to drive it 40 miles to the Northwestern Freightliner Service Center and Dealership in Nampa, Idaho. I know it's not going to make it because I would get a ticket because this thing is smoking like crazy. I said, okay, well, let's go get towed then. So I drive off, right? As soon as I got on the highway, boom, it smoked out the entire highway. You couldn't see nothing, right? So I pull over immediately, shut the truck off. They tried to tell me, drive a little bit further. So I acted like I drove further, called back 50 minutes, and I can't go any further. Finally got towed, right? So what happens is EGR, coolant was leaking into the EGR, and filled the one box up with about 3 to 4 gallons of coolant. So it needed an entirely new one box, which is a good thing because the truck was under warranty. One box was like $24,000, but it also needed a slew of other things. I mean, it was very expensive, but I was there for an entire week. So from that Monday to the following Monday, this is how this occurred. All right. So I checked in. Right, they would eventually get me a hotel later that day, which is across the street to Sleep Inn in Nampa. Next morning, I have to check out. Then I have to go sit in the driver lounge at the shop for the rest of the day. Then go back to the hotel, check back in. They give me this happened every day. I check out of the hotel, then check back into the hotel. This every single day. It was freaking ridiculous, right? Truck finally got out of the shop very late in the evening that Friday. So truck was in the shop 5 days. Okay. I get the truck back. Warning lights are still coming on. Sensors going off in the truck. I take the truck back the next morning. There's no codes on it though, so something's going on triggering all these lights and all this other stuff. I have lost so much money at this company as a result of both these trucks. The downtime, the breaking down, the getting towed. I didn't get any money for 3 weeks. I was thousands upon thousands of dollars in debt. They just heaped all this debt on me. Didn't care that this stuff wasn't my fault. It didn't care that these were all pre-existing issues that I warned them about. They never fixed. They didn't care. They didn't give a damn about none of that. All right. So negative $1,800, negative $500, negative all types of stuff. Right. The last settlement I got, it was, I mean, we're talking about deductions were in the negative of $10,000 and more. Okay. Because of these trucks, they put you in. The trucks are very poorly maintained, right? They got a really crappy shop that they take their trucks to. For example, the Peterbilt that they initially put me in, it came out worse from that shop than when it went in. I initially had high hopes with this company, and I thought we were going to do good. I had a few good settlements where we made some pretty decent money, and then it just fell apart from there, man. The trucks were horrible. I think maybe if you're an owner operator and you have your own truck, maybe you'll do good here. It's hard to say. If you're a company driver, maybe it's all right. I don't know. With their trucks, man, their trucks are so poorly maintained. It's hard to say if company drivers do well here. So I really don't have much positive stuff to say about Beemac Terminal 75. It was a disaster. It was one of the worst lease purchase disasters I have ever been a part of. They take no responsibility for their own ill-maintained equipment. Even the Freightliner I was in was like 20,000 miles beyond or overdue for a PM. So that's how bad it is with these. They don't do PMs on time and all this other stuff. Even the Freightliner had 4 spotted tires. One of the tires were bald. They wouldn't. They just, we'll replace it. We'll just give us some time and all that stuff. And it had a broken brake on that Freightliner, which was another thing setting off sensors. So, I can't. It was bad, and I was, like I said, I was excited and I was hoping it was going to go great, but unfortunately, I left just towards the end of this week, and I came home. I brought their truck home because I didn't have no other way to get home. They were trying to talk me into coming to the yard, and then I'd been screwed. I'd have been screwed. So I took their truck home, and I'm gonna drive it back Monday night, so I can start at my next venture the next day after that. So I already saw that it was ending quite rapidly. So I had already started looking at my exit strategy, and exit strategy paid off. So I was able to get home. I was around 1,200 some miles from home. Got home. So now I just got to get my equipment stuff, some of the stuff I need out of this truck. But I'm going to drive this truck to the next place, unload all my property, then drive it back to Terminal 75. So they can have their truck back, because I already threatened to put an abandonment on me, even though I'm not going to abandon the truck. So it's just, be careful, guys. maybe if you're a true owner operator, it might work out for you, you know. So that way, again, you know, if you're able to pay for your own stuff, you got your own truck. It's obviously your responsibility. But when you get a truck from somebody, like a company, and it already has issues, you expect them to do the right thing and repair the damage that was on their time and not yours, you know, and they wouldn't do that. So, where am I going next? Man, it always seems to be that type of video, doesn't it? The amount of abuse drivers take from companies today is so outrageous. It's outrageous. You know, everyone says we're family oriented. Our drivers are everything. It's a lot of that stuff is the salesman tactics. You know, pay attention to reviews because they mean something. All right, guys. So with that, like always, man, I'm trying to give you guys the best information I can. That way you guys can make good decisions that bring about positive outcomes for you and your family. All right. With that, deuces.